Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. If you're like me, someone who's crossed the golden age of 65, you've probably noticed how the pace of life slows down a bit. And in that stillness, something quite beautiful can emerge, awareness. Today, I want to share with you a few simple mindfulness practices that have gently, but profoundly, changed how I live my day-to-day life. I wasn't always into mindfulness, you know. Back in the day, we didn't use words like self-care or wellness. We just worked, raised families, and tried to keep up with the bills. But as the years passed and retirement came knocking, I found myself with more time on my hands, and sometimes, too much time in my head. That's when I realized that while my body was slowing down, my mind was running faster than ever. Worrying, overthinking, replaying old regrets. Sound familiar? One morning, I was sitting in my little garden, sipping coffee and watching the squirrels scramble up the maple tree. It was so peaceful. I could hear the wind rustling through the leaves, and the world seemed to pause just long enough for me to really feel alive. That was the moment I realized what mindfulness is. It's not about sitting cross-legged in silence for hours or reciting mantras. It's simply about being here now. So I started small, really small, just 5 minutes a day. I began with what I now call my coffee stillness. Before I even check my phone or turn on the news, I sit with my coffee and just notice things. The warmth of the mug, the smell of the roast, the feel of the chair under me. I don't try to do anything, just be. And those 5 minutes became my anchor. Next, I added something I call window watching. It sounds silly, but it's incredibly calming. I sit by the window, watch the birds come and go. The clouds drift by, and I breathe deeply, just in and out, slow and steady. Sometimes I count my breaths up to 10, then back down. Sometimes I whisper a quiet thank you with every exhale. This little practice brings me out of my head and back into my life. Now, if you're someone who finds it hard to sit still, walking meditation might be your thing. I started doing it in the afternoons, just a gentle walk around the block. I leave the headphones at home and focus on the feel of my feet on the ground, the sound of the wind, or even the rhythm of my own breathing. The world becomes sharper, more vivid. Even the cracks in the sidewalks start to feel like part of a bigger picture. Another thing that's helped me a lot is mindful listening. You know, in conversations, especially with grandkids or younger folks, it's easy to drift off or start preparing your response before they're done talking. So I started really listening, not just to the words, but to the emotions behind them. It's helped me connect more deeply with my family, and honestly, it's brought more peace into my home. There's also something very healing about practicing gratitude. I keep a little notebook by my bed, and each night, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Some days it's big things, like good health. Other days, it's something as simple as the neighbor waving hello. This habit helps shift my focus away from what's missing or painful and reminds me of what's still beautiful. Let me tell you, these mindfulness moments don't erase life's problems. I still have aches and pains, and I still miss people who are gone. But they help me carry those feelings with a little more grace. They soften the rough edges of the day and remind me that even now, in this chapter of life, I can grow. I can feel joy. I can be at peace. If you're curious to start, my advice is, don't overthink it. Begin with one practice. Maybe tomorrow morning, just hold your coffee and notice how it feels. Or sit by a window and count your breaths. The key isn't perfection, it's consistency. And over time, you'll start to notice something magical. You'll feel more present, more grounded, more you. I hope my story and these simple practices have given you something useful to take with you. Life after 60 can be rich with insight and calm, especially when we make space for moments of mindfulness. If this video spoke to you, I'd be honored if you'd leave a comment and share one practice that brings you peace. Let's keep this gentle, wise community growing. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take a deep breath, stay curious, and remember, every moment is a chance to begin again.